Hello to everybody. Thank you for having me. My name is Tymofii Brik. I'm a PhD student at the University Carlos III in Madrid, and I'm going to present some preliminary findings of my studies about patterns of online communication during the Maidan revolution. I believe that this is an important subject because social media are known to be very important in shaping individual behavior and especially in creating new social groups. And in my study, I would like to address these issues. First of all, I will say how I did collect my data. I used special Facebook applications such as NetViz in order to retrieve data from such Facebook pages as Euromaidan and Anti-Maidan. The data that were retrieved includes all text from posts, comments, also statistics for likes, shares, and others, other important details, and of course it provides information about network structures. There are some disadvantages of this data. First of all, you can dig maximum up to 1,000 posts per trial, which means that it is necessary to collect data on the monthly or maybe weekly basis. Another thing that two-mode networks are retrieved. For those who don't know this definition, I will explain that two-mode means that individual is connected to a post. However, for our analysis, it is important to have an individual who is connected with another individual. And these kind of transformations of data were conducted manually. I began my data observation in November and I finished it in May with some sample procedures for my analysis. So at the beginning, I would like to demonstrate some simple statistics that you can derive from this kind of data. And as you see, these are just numbers of posts per day that were published on Euromaidan Facebook page. However, for my analysis, it is more important to focus on the way how people interacted with each other. So the second slide demonstrates some averages of comments and shares of these posts. First of all, you may see that people reacted very actively, but the most important issue I would like to point is if you look at the left side of the slides, you can see that the blue line shares were dominated. So people used to share more than comment at the beginning of the existence of this Facebook page, which means that people just came there as to the source of information, they took some information and they share it with their friends. However, later on you may observe this convergence, that people began to talk with each other more often. You may do a lot of different analysis with this type of data. I will just briefly present you some tables. However, I'm not going to talk about this explicitly for sake of time. You may do some quantifications of subjects of posts. You can also see how people reacted to these posts, whether they were more supportive or maybe they were more critical and negative in their responses. You may also see which language they used in order to communicate. For example, people in Euromaidan page and in Anti-Maidan page, they all prefer to speak in Russian. Another interesting point is the day of silence, which is just a way how we call one day before elections, where usually media are not allowed to discuss different candidates. However, people online were quite free to be engaged in this kind of conversations and cheer for some candidates while being very critical against other candidates. And at the last point of my presentation, I would like to describe some social network analysis I did. So for those who may be not familiar with these definitions, social network is just a way how social scientists study groups where individuals are linked to each other and can be analyzed at the same time simultaneously. Usually we call individuals as nodes, and these nodes, they have edges or links. They are connected to each other, and in my case, all individuals or nodes are connected if they reacted to the same post online. And another definition is a degree, which is just amount of these links for an individual. The last slide you can see represents a dynamic of social network changes over time. I did my first observation in December. I selected randomly 100 individuals and I followed them as a panel. So at the beginning you may see that there are a lot of people with a very low degree. A degree is represented here by the size of the node. So sometimes the nodes are so small that you cannot even see them, and some nodes are isolated from each other. However, in April you may see that the same people, they have more and more connections between each other, and in May some of them lose these connections. So what I see from this picture is that social interactions online are very dynamic. They change over time. There are some links that appear, some links that disappear over time. However, there is a very clear core of individuals. Around 70% of people, they not only visit this Facebook page on the monthly basis, but they also maintain their interest in the same topics. They comment the same posts and they share information between each other. And in my view, this means that some stable social group arises from this social media. As a conclusion, I just would like to repeat that social network analysis is a very good tool to detect communication online, that we may find that there are sustainable social interactions over the course of time, and people indeed are not just isolated objects, but they also demonstrate themselves as a part of social group. And I would like to finish with just a call for possible studies in future. It is very important to proceed this type of research with systematic data collection of some other relevant Facebook pages, to do cross-group comparisons and maybe even surveys of individuals, and I'm just open to further communication with you. Thank you very much.